Hello, this is Tam the TamBoTC channel, and I'm going to tell you guys which Skyrim is my favorite Skyrim. Todd Howard Skyrim is my favorite. No, but being serious. Anyways, now there's a YouTuber I really like, and there's a lot of different people who've, I've always wanted to talk more in depth on Skyrim itself. Also, I'm doing this battle. Also, I want to say, every time people talk about how underwhelming Alduin is, he has quite a few parts that build him up in this game, and it's like everybody forgets this boss fight with him. Because this is pretty crazy, this boss fight alone. I missed him. But, yes, I know it, dink. But Parthenax fights by your side. You stinking got the awesome music playing, and you got all this crazy crud that's about to happen, by the way, because of all the different things Alduin does. He, like, hails down different storms on top of you, and he has ice breath, fire breath, all this crazy stuff. But, Straight Up Irish is one of my favorite YouTubers, and he did, like, top 5 lists. These were quite a long time ago, but I thought, since I looked back on them, and I had a friend, as well as myself, come back to this game, to really give it more in-depth looks, and it started to make a lot of the complaints look kind of silly, especially, like, the Alduin being pathetic. There is a theory about why Alduin's weak at the end, as well as you basically know just from this battle alone why he is, and that this battle is much better. Also, I don't feel like he's just a reskin, really, of dragons in looks, at least, because he's got a lot more going on with him. There's a lot more complexity to his look. I wouldn't say he's not a reskin, he's definitely another dragon fight, but at least he's exciting when it comes to a battle like this. And even the battle at the very end still has its charm to it. And I will agree it's not all that satisfying, but more of the satisfaction comes in both the rewards and experiencing the adventure and journey of it all. Did I get him? Yeah! Now, the things that I want to point out, first off, I wanted to talk about, like, which Elder Scrolls was my favorite. I think they all kind of even each other out for various reasons and little tidbits here and there. But yeah, they all kind of even one another out in various ways. So say Skyrim gets rid of the annoying speech thing, and you know how you can fast travel to any of the main cities or towns in Oblivion, like right off the bat? Where in Skyrim it takes the route of doing that, but it does it more the way that it's like a mixture of Morrowind and Oblivion, where you can fast travel to those locations, but you use the carriage as kind of the equivalent of a stilt strider. So you still have to walk from place to place, and it's not as handholdy, even though there is the constant arrow. There are ways to make that a much better experience and more like playstyle Morrowind. Also, you realize RPG elements to a game isn't always choices, even though I definitely think there should be more choices and decisions, but it's also in how you play, and there's a lot of different play styles and the way you can build your character that makes it really unique and a fun experience on its own. Parthenax, you're a bit late. Mario, you late. But yeah, it's quite a dang lot going on here. But yeah, each game balances itself out. So Skyrim's the most polished of the games, and it's probably got an art style and the look of it, the aesthetic, is probably the best looking and the one that I can actually deal with looking at without all the NPCs looking super ugly. Also, Skyrim fixes the thing with NPCs where it does that weird zoom in and the characters are doing weird things with their eyes and such. And there's the weird emotion thing you can do where you choose for a mini game of boast or joke and such. In Oblivion, they fix a lot of stuff like that. I thought originally, like, Oblivion has had the best combat, but now that I get more into this and realize, like, you can make some pretty crazy builds at the end of this compared to Oblivion, and it's just very, very satisfying. Ow! And, I feel like now that I've looked more in depth, when you got more variety to the way you can attack, such as dual wielding, bow and arrow combat, magic, all that kind of stuff, is, even though it's clunky in some parts, they do a great job of other things with the combat, and there's just a whole lot of variety to it. Wish I had more healing potions. No, you don't. Oh, dang it. Oh, wait, I have the... Dang it, I'm an idiot. I have the wrong thing on. Come down here. Hey, Alduin. And they build up Alduin's character. I think he's, like, the best, besides, of course, the villain of, Morrowind, is they do a really good job with, but I feel like Alduin's still built up. And he's really an interesting villain. He's one of the most powerful, too. Like, if you can compare a lot of them, only the Dragonborn can beat him. I still like Straight Up Irish, and he does a great job, but there are a few things, like, just think of it as my opinion. I'm not saying that he's wrong or he's not allowed to have an opinion. Definitely not. But I am saying there's a couple other things to kind of look into when talking about some of this stuff. And even though he definitely seems like he's got everything down, there's a few things that other, like, people like me are probably going to come out and be able to point out. He said something about, too, like, the way the guilds work. And my friend is playing both Oblivion and Skyrim right now. And he actually does not like the guilds at all in Oblivion compared to Skyrim. He loves the guilds in Skyrim. And he knows what they're supposed to be from the previous ones. He's even playing a little of Morrowind. He can't get into Oblivion compared to Skyrim either, which is funny. And I have a friend also who can't get into a Skyrim or Oblivion, but he will at least admit that Skyrim is better than Oblivion. He thinks of it as more of like Oblivion's like a generic fantasy, medieval fantasy, where Skyrim is this unique Nordic. I know to use Dragonrend Dink, but yeah, and you kind of can tell by the theme of each game what the game's gonna be like for you. Skyrim, you got this really mighty song that just speaks action, like the one that's playing right now. And you got like the fantasy, the mystical and fantastical, but mysterious soundtrack or theme to Morrowind. Morrowind's got the best RPG elements, but it hasn't aged well graphically, and it's got the lamest combat of the bunch. Though you can still make a pretty cool character, and the RPG elements are solid. The world is really solid too, and I love it. I love the dungeons and such, where a lot of the dungeons are samey. The adventuring in between areas in Oblivion are just very bland, and not much happens compared to both Skyrim and Morrowind. And one big thing that definitely set the mark for why I think Skyrim and Morrowind both beat Oblivion definitely is because I know to use it. And I missed. I knew I was going to miss that on accident. Sorry. But yeah, is replay value. That is the biggest thing. You can get through Oblivion pretty much getting everything that you could care for, at least, doing all the Daedra quests, everything that important in one playthrough. Even achievements and trophies. Like, the only achievement or trophy that you can't get, but it's because of the DLC, Shivering Isles, but that's, once again, because of a DLC. So, I don't really think of that as part of the whole, like, because you can still play through the same playthrough using Shivering Isles. And I love the Shivering Isles, but once again, it's just, yeah. You can get through the game in one playthrough, and even so, doing another playthrough, it's not going to be the same. Well, it's going to be the same in terms of what you experience, because there's barely any choices at all. But yeah. So replay value is a big deal. I also loved the guilds because they were short but satisfying, and they weren't too, like, super short. They were just too, and I mean, they have tons of stuff you do afterwards, a lot of the in-game stuff. But I mean, you could chalk that up to being repetitive and the same thing over and over again. Kill this dude, kill that dude for the Dark Brotherhood, you know, that kind of stuff. And, but I still really like a lot of the rewards to a lot of the dungeons and how different they are and unique. There are some pretty vast, gigantic, unique dungeons in this. I like Blackreach, actually. I really thought that was kind of like a, like, when I saw that place, I thought of it like as a crazy, like, underground Morrowind. It was just, it had that same, like, fantastical but mysterious alien world kind of vibe to it, and I really liked it. And I was like, that was just one place of the many big dungeons and such you can be a part of. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat Alduin. He's, like, kicking my butt. Dang. I do not feel leveled enough for this, but whatever, I'll fight him. But yeah, the leveling's crazy. You can never see everything in Skyrim, and just the mods, this is all without mods. Like, if you added mods, Skyrim's still the craziest game of the bunch. But I think Morrowind and Skyrim are kind of even because of certain things. Morrowind beats Skyrim in its story and, like, how you roleplay, all the choices and such, where Skyrim beats it at, well, polish, obviously, graphics. It has great music and art design, but you can say the same for Morrowind. So the only other things are, like, the dungeon. They both have great dungeons. They both have replay value. I love the character customizations. And, of course, Skyrim does have the extra stuff, like, the DLCs definitely add a lot to Skyrim as well, but there are great expansions to Morrowind as well, too. Morrowind kind of has lame expansions, to be honest, except for Shivering Isles, once again, but the rest of them are kind of like horse armor, and then a bunch of like, mediocre, like, side quests, but they're, like, big side quests that feel more like the, guilds. But the reason my friend doesn't like the guilds is because they feel very tedious and, like, odd jobs. Like, you're doing this one job for this guy and then another. It's just the same thing over and over again. And being that the dungeons, no matter how cool you could say a dungeon or two is, you can say the same for Skyrim, and I still think Skyrim's dungeons are more appealing, with the variety, the rewards, treasures, and so on that they have to offer. Not only that, but how the class systems and the leveling, I don't know, like, compared to Oblivion, it's really hard to argue, like, the leveling system when it comes to that stuff, but I still think that Skyrim beats it in many other respects. I'm not saying Skyrim is the definitive best. Once again, they all kind of tie each other up because of certain things they have better than the other. But that they kind of just tie each other up. But I do think that if I had to place Oblivion somewhere amongst the top big three, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. Sadly, Oblivion would make number 3 mainly because of the replay value. I mean, you can play it however much you want on just the one playthrough or two. It doesn't have that solid replay value that Skyrim and Morrowind have. There's still stuff to choose and to see and to do differently on your other playthroughs of both Skyrim and Morrowind. Probably Morrowind more so, but there are things that keep you going even in Skyrim too. So it's really hard to argue on either side. And I feel like also they made it uniquely. I don't know where the crud he's flying off to. Like, he's everywhere and it's hard to even get a lock onto him. But I do like this battle. Let's see if I can get him. Yeah, he stopped moving. Good. And there's a lot of like different powers, and like I said with the combat, there's a lot of variety to just the combat alone. It's really cool. Let's that music kick in. Yeah. But yeah, it's really hard, and I love how they tie in the guilds. You know how people argue that the one problem with Oblivion is they don't... First off, they don't tie in the guilds. I mean, they don't need to, but the fact that you can join all the guilds without question is just kind of weird. But Skyrim kind of makes that stuff make sense. Because take the Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild, they have completely opposite beliefs from one another. One kills like guilty people mostly, and the other just doesn't straight up like any killing at all. They're mostly about thievery. But the Dark Brotherhood needs the Thieves Guild's help, as well as, if you think about it, there's actually a werewolf amongst the Dark Brotherhood as well that may have even been a companion at one point. I don't know. Or they just straight up bit, and I can't remember the lore of the character, husband of Astrid. Yeah. There we go. Leveled up. Alright, jeez. Yeah, I got him. Wow.
Hurt him while he is grounded.
Oh, he stopped me.
Become strong. But I am Al-Duin, firstborn of Akatosh, Malagi Zoklat. I cannot be slain.
I'm still angry.
Or anyone else.
He's awesome looking. You can get a dang statue of him.
You cannot prevail against me.
I never got the statue, but I should. I want the pop figure of him. Okay. Bye, Alduin. Bye. Oh, I Parthenax. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. That was an awesome battle. Sorry it dragged on for so long, but it'll get your attention, that's for sure. Let's listen to Mario now. But yeah, each of the guilds kind of combine in a way, but not really, but it at least makes it have more substance and make a little bit more sense. There's also, there was the argument of, it was really the factor of, like, when I remember people talking about how people probably should have treated you more like scum, and also, well, I mean, there are still Stagami characters and characters that still treat you as scum, but you build your way up to being a better character over time. And
domination as his birthright.
when it comes to it,
should shake the loyalty
he's
of
got
the
a
dove
booming dang voice. Jeez. When it comes to it,
Yes.
like,
one of his
he's
allies
kind of
could
distracting
tell
me, by the
us.
way. If you're
Not
noticing that.
but it will not
Dang
be so
booming
easy
voice.
to convince
I
one of
wonder if
them
he's
to
distracting you
betray
guys too from me.
Perhaps
Hope you
the
could hear me that whole time,
Half-Cosseum,
too.
The palace in Whiterun, Dragon's Reach. It was originally built to house a captive Dova.
Okay.
A fine place to trap
Dink.
one of Alduin's allies.
Wahoo! Sorry, the microphone. But, yeah, there's also a couple other factors I want to bring up. When it comes to the characters, they feel lively and organic. You got the, there's just so much personality in Skyrim, and yes, there's a lot of like people who talk about how dark the game is, and I'm not saying Skyrim's the best game ever, definitely not. There's problems, glitches, I've had crashes. It might as well be just the amount of crashes that I've had with something like No Man's Sky, but No Man's Sky doesn't have the same like personality, and it doesn't need the same personality, but it needs a personality. It needs world building and such, and I just don't feel it with No Man's Sky where I can with Skyrim. And it just does such a great job, and so does Morrowind. Whoops, I guess I was singing and sat there for too long. Okay, fine. Be that way! Kind of reminds me of Dragonheart. I own that movie. The first Dragonheart was good, and then I found out they made like a million others. What the crud. The first one was good enough. Just stick with the first one. You don't need it anymore. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I also want to bring out too, this was as a couple of examples too. There's a joke, and this has nothing to do with this situation, but conversation, sorry. But Destiny 2 Cade 6 makes a joke about how NPCs, ones that quest-giving NPCs are too lazy to go on their quest, even though the game's kind of hypocritical because it does that exact thing. I noticed in Skyrim, and I had a friend who compared Skyrim to Destiny, but they're nothing alike. They don't have this, their worlds are nothing alike. As a matter of fact, Destiny's world is just really bland and empty. Its personality is just very lackluster compared to Skyrim's, and Morrowind and such. Oh! Whoops, I'm walking into the sticking really cold spots of this dang mountain. But yeah, I noticed that there are tons of characters in Skyrim that will actually, whether they become a follower or not, have either reasons for why they don't come, or and sometimes there's even some self-aware characters, like Farengar. I found him kind of self-aware, and you can change the conversations. Like, take for example, I went to Bleakfall Barrow and got the stone before I even started the main quest line. Well, I mean, right off the bat from getting out of Helgen. But I came to him. He, of course, it's the same dialogue would get him set up. Go find this stone. And then I'm like, oh, you mean this old rock as a new option? And he's like, yes, that thing. And he reacts differently, and it's just like impressive to him. And of course, Delphine won't be there because you already retrieved the stone. I don't find Delphine as annoying, but she's not a great character, to be honest. They could have developed her a little bit better and made her less annoying. Well, at least annoying to a certain extent. But yeah, and the thing I was going to bring up with characters at the beginning, when they're calling you Dragonborn stuff, they actually ask you to demonstrate your shout, as well as right after that, the Greybeards call for you. And you find out more and more, as well as the Greybeards, and even the Blades with Delphine and such, ask you themselves to prove that you're the Dragonborn. And you do. So, what the heck's wrong there? And of course, there's the boss battle I showed you, which is more impressive than the last boss battle, but that I still like the presentation of the last boss battle. The only thing I will agree with is it doesn't feel satisfying. It's mostly because there's not really much of a reward afterwards, and it just feels like it does suddenly stop. It's like, isn't there somebody here to meet me? And I mean, Parthenax is there, and then there's all the dragons flying around like crazy, and there's still much more to do. There's joining the Empire, or the Stormcloaks, all the guilds if you haven't already done them, and so much more. Where the crud are my companions? I just noticed that. My companions are missing. Okay, if they don't teleport to... Shut up. If they don't spawn on me when I go in here, then I'm gonna have to go fast travel to them. But yeah, there's also other little things that I noticed that make even the followers a little better than the followers of Fallout 4. Because a lot of the followers in Fallout 4 like to kind of wander themselves, and they just wander into traps like idiots. Where followers won't always do that. They mostly stay behind you unless you go ahead, or there's like combat or something going on. Then they'll probably walk into a trap, but even then it's not always going to be that troublesome. So, and there is a vast majority of dang followers in Skyrim. I still feel like Skyrim does age decently well, and for some reason it has just a charm. What's with all the guards just in the same place? But yeah, it's just got a great charm to it and such. It's really great. There's a lot of memorable and iconic scenes of just the main storyline and just locations too. Even though I do agree that stuff like Black Reaches is really annoying, but I still love the design of that location. It is really beautiful, and there's so many other locations that just feel iconic and legendary on their own without Ubisoft stepping in and saying that crud. Once again, I don't know what I would rate Skyrim. Skyrim is a tough dang cookie to rate. It really is, because once you're engulfed in this world, it's almost like you want to give it a really high rating, but you know it doesn't deserve it. But neither, like, during the time period that Morrowind came out and Oblivion, of course they were really good for that time, but now, aging, I feel like Skyrim, even though it is like almost 7 years of where they're much longer, 2006 and what was it, 2001, 2002 or something for Morrowind? I can't remember, but it might even been 2003. But yeah, I grew up with dang Morrowind. I love Morrowind. And I have it on Xbox. I want to record some stuff on Twitter using it, but I found out you can only record up to 2 minutes, and that kind of made me mad. So that sucks. I'll try and find another way to record more, but I'll have some funny clips hopefully up on Twitter. But when I found that out, that's kind of what delayed me. It was like, I have some nice long clips for people, and it's like, oh crud. Now I have to like chop them up or just delete it altogether because of how Xbox's upload setup is just really awkward. I had a time where I made a video on there and I recorded my voice and it just completely cut off on me, cut out my entire dialogue that I had, my dialogue. But yeah, tell me what you think. I think each of the Elder Scrolls games kind of even out one another, to be honest. But if I had to say what was third place, I don't know who the heck I would put second first. Once again, it's a tough challenge because of how Morrowind has aged. I would love to see a dang remaster of Morrowind. But then, like, Skyrim does have things that I really love. There's stuff like you can adopt kids, you can get married, you can stink and have your own house, decorate it, and with the DLCs you can build your own house, and with Special Edition, especially since it goes on sale here and there, you stinkin' have many other things. Also, I want to say, Todd Howard, just because people play your game a crud ton and buy it a bunch, doesn't mean that you should. I mean, you can still use the logic because you're actually smart. Look at this, beautiful. You're smart because, you know, like, people are you're going to make money out of this either way. But it's also like, it's almost like Skyrim's his bully, and he actually wants to see Skyrim fail somewhere down the lines, but at the same time he's like, you know what, if I'm gonna see Skyrim fail, I'm at least gonna make some money out of it. I don't know, maybe that's not it, and he actually does really love how the work that went into Skyrim. But yeah, and actually, the funny thing, the Amazon Alexa thing, I'll never get one of those, but when I think about how, was it Key or Peel in the video? Whoever it was, when he was demonstrating what to do in that, it felt like one of those read-along books, RPG books, or Dungeons and Dragons or something, where you tell this person you want to do this decision or that. It felt kind of like that, and it made Skyrim feel like there was a little bit more in just that little detail alone. Oh, there you are! What the crud, Dirkeethus? Wait. Oh, there's Barbas. Yeah, I'm cheating with Barbas, by the way. But no, I didn't get the cheat during the Alduin, so they kind of took them away, so it was a fair fight. Kind of. I mean, it is a gigantic dragon, and I had a gigantic dragon on my side. But yeah, there's still just a ton to Skyrim, and there's some times where, like, this, I don't know what it is, but this game can sometimes look, at a distance, in some scenes, look almost photorealistic. And I think that might just be me, but it looks beautiful. And this is the remaster. I still think the game kind of holds up. I still have my 360 version. Yeah, I just don't know what to say. What the crud would I even rate Skyrim? I think a honest, legitimate rating would be something like an 8. Like, a solid 8, I mean. Not the stuff where I do the 8 point this or that, but a solid 8. And I just don't know what to say. But I really love Skyrim. I think personally, Skyrim to me is one of the best Elder Scrolls, but I love Morrowind, and they just kind of once again balance each other out, and it's just really difficult to say who's better. Morrowind, I love the decision making. I love the RPG elements and how you build your character and where you can go, the replay value. But Skyrim has a lot of that and other things as well, even if it misses out on choices and a lot of those RPG elements. But that doesn't mean all the RPG elements are completely gone. They're just, for the most part, when it comes to a lot of the decision making and how you build your characters in certain ways, is gone for a big chunk. So hopefully they do something. They can learn from all other games, like Fallout, all their Fallouts. And I think Fallout, I want to do something more Fallout versus Elder Scrolls, because Fallout actually evolved much more than Elder Scrolls has. But I still love, the reason I like, it's really a preference though. Do you like fantasy or do you like a post-apocalyptic world? And I love fantasy just much more. I've stuck with fantasy so much longer than I have with, if you can't tell, this is going to be my thumbnail. But I stuck with fantasies just so much more. I love stuff like Lord of the Rings, and the story of Skyrim just does feel like that Lord of the Rings adventure and journey you're going to have. And so does Morrowind. I love Morrowind once again. If I had to rate Morrowind, it probably would be a little lower than Skyrim in terms of just like how it's aged and such, really. But it's still like in a really solid place. And it's just so dang hard for me to say. And Skyrim and Morrowind are definitely games just up there on my top 20, maybe even top 10 or 5 list. They're that big a deal to me. And I love them. But I won't let nostalgia blind me for 6. I want them to take a lot of the great stuff that they learned and done over time with all of their Fallouts, all of their Elder Scrolls and combine it. One of my dream games is an Elder Scrolls where it has a co-op, nothing like Fallout 76, but something like what I said in my Fallout Miami /76 video, where it's like 2, maybe 3 players in the world and experiencing things like that. And I brought up the whole, like, a bunch of thugs or bandits or whatever coming out of the bushes at you, and they're gonna rob you, and you have these choices to make. Or if you're like part of their guild or whatever their group is. I don't know if that was English, but it would be really cool, the different interactions and such, and a lot of that would add heart and soul to just, as well to just the game has more heart and soul to it, the Elder Scrolls games, compared to stuff like Destiny and such, where it just doesn't feel like it's there, and they just keep messing up and repeating the same problems they did previously in previous games. And though, yes, there is a lot of dumbed down things, but you can still change the way you play Skyrim by going to, like, legendary difficulty and turning off the hub and such. A lot of different things, but yeah, you have your decision making of how you want to play, and that's where the role-playing does come in, is your way of how you play. But I still do think they need choices and such, because it really makes for interesting characters, character building, and so on. Stop doing that. And there's just so much to ding Skyrim and Morrowind. Once again, I don't want to say that one's better than the other, but yeah, just technical terms, I think Skyrim does beat Morrowind out that way, but Morrowind still beats it in a lot of the role-playing aspects. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something from this. Once again, I love Straight Up Irish. He's awesome, but I do think a couple of points brought out could have probably used a little bit more to them. I'm not saying to disagree or that his opinion is wrong or anything. He has the right to his opinion, and I love his opinion. He's awesome. But yeah, I thought these would be interesting things to bring out because I really liked the concept of them, and when I dug deeper into these games, there's just too much to talk about. It just drives me insane. And that was the same thing when I was going into Breath of the Wild review. I just felt like I wasn't going to do a good video because there's just too much to talk about with that game. And hopefully I can bring you other reviews and make them much better and much more constructed well. Right now I am using like raw footage or stuff. I'm sorry boring you with this screen, but yeah, tell me how I do. Tell me what I can do to change things, what I can to tweak. I will take whatever criticism, opinions, as long as it's not like really rude or considered bullying. Yeah, just please help me out. No, but I do very much appreciate it, and you're all awesome. I thank you for those who subscribe, even those who don't subscribe, and just come pass by and give a couple of views just to watch it, even if it's just a couple of minutes. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe, and there will be more on its way. Leave your comments below once again. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!